Today's the day for the final grading before concrete, and this has to be perfect. I've got a new laser control system on here. It looks a lot like the old one, but it's totally new, fancier. I'm going to tell you all about it, and we're going to see if it works together. Let's get started. I've brought in a bunch of this crushed stone, number 11 size, so it's washed, but it's real small stone. I distributed it across the floor with the Yanmar and loader, but I didn't do any extra effort. I didn't do any back dragging or anything. This is just dumped out of the loader as best I could. So we'll have to go over this repeatedly with the blade, adding more rock likely, and we'll also use ham the roller. You're seeing my first couple of passes here with this new dual system. There'll be a lot of adjustments and a lot of learning that I need to go through during this project, and I'll try to share some of what I've learned and what we've adjusted as we go. Are you able to see right down there and see it dumping right now? This stone spreads so nicely. That's the advantage here. Now, it's very expensive. It cost me $700 per truckload, and I ended up buying 5 truckloads. It's these types of expenses that are easy to miss or overlook in your budgeting. After all, I'd already bought several loads of the crushed concrete for initial grade before we ever started the building. We've shown the first generation of this Compaction laser system several times on the channel. You guys have seen the pluses and the minuses of that system, as it was a first generation system. And I've continued to work with Compaction over the years to try to say, hey, can we improve this? Can we change this a little bit? And the biggest change that I was hoping for, and that I've got to show you today, is what's called a dual system. So this system allows me to control both the box blade dimensions at the same time, like the raise and lower as well as the tilt, right? It's all in the same system. If you go back and look at my videos, my summarization was that I thought my two independent systems would fight each other. As one would raise, the other would try to lower, and then they would reverse, and then sometimes they could just get to where they had trouble because they didn't communicate with each other at all. Well, now we have the dual system, both systems controlled by one box. Let's look a little closer. Even at first glance, if you've seen the earlier system, this box has a lot more going on, right? There's a lot more controls on it, a lot more activity. Right up here, you can see the flashing green. This one says it needs to go up just a little bit, but it is green. The tractor's off, so it's not going to be able to raise it. But it is in automatic mode. Watch this. I'll click it off of automatic mode, and you'll hear that clicking stop. So it's actually trying to raise the electric valve, but I'll turn that off of automatic. This is the left blade control or left receiver control and the right receiver control. So I mentioned earlier that one was for raise and one was for tilt. Well, that's not really how it's designed, right? It's designed for one is sensitive to the left receiver, one is sensitive to the right receiver. My blade just happens to be made such that one of those is tilt and one of those is raised. You could have a blades that each wheel is independently controlled, and that would work fine in this situation. In the middle here, I've got a switch that allows me to go left or right for some of the software controls, and this would control a power mast. Now, we don't have a power mast, but what we do have is a smarter mast than what we had in the past. Let's go take a look at it. I've gotten in the habit of hanging my masts on the box blade backwards, so they're pointing backwards instead of forward. A couple reasons for that. I think they receive the laser a little bit better this direction. A lot of times I get better reception, I feel like, when I'm going away from the laser itself. The other reason is I don't need to see it. I've got the little indicators right there on the control box that you just saw. These masts, this is called the 305, MD305 can, and this is taller than my other one, which was the 205. This means we can be a little more out of range on the signal and still have reception. That's the simple part, and that helps a lot. But there's even another advantage. I can actually adjust how I want the blade to cut in increments of 4/10 of an inch. I think it's like 1 centimeter. I can tell it that I want to cut higher than the beam or lower than the beam, right? I guess it's the other way around. This would be higher than the beam, low. And so I can make those adjustments from the tractor. If I want one side of the blade to be at an angle, I can do that. Again, I can do all that in software. So I can do a full 4 inches up or down on that. That gives a lot of range that you could do a slope and do a lot more control. I didn't have that opportunity in the past. Anytime I wanted to do any sort of a slope, I had to raise or lower these receivers. So this, being able to do this in software has improved my efficiency a lot. Now the rest of the system's still the same. I can still connect directly to the Summit kit here, or Canamec offers their own hydraulic valves. So you don't have to use the Summit kit. You can use valves from Canamec itself, but since the plugs just plug in and work, I see no reason not to use the Summit kit that I have here. Now, while prices on this stuff have gone up since COVID, the dual system is a little bit cheaper than 2 separate single systems. So we do get a little bit of a financial advantage there. And if you use code TTWT, you do get a 10% discount, I believe. I find with this dual system, I can actually drive and watch where I'm going instead of watching the system all the time. With the single system, I had to watch it really, really closely, and now I don't have to worry about that nearly as much. This system is working beautifully. The single system was wonderful, as in much, much better than trying to do it by hand, but this is luxury. You will notice that this system hops once in a while. That's a symptom of the type of hydraulic valve we're using. These Summit valves are on or off, so you can click them to raise or not raise. You don't have any really control over the speed of the raise. There are more expensive valves available, but they are crazy expensive, maybe 10 times more than the price of these Summit valves. Those are referred to as proportional valves. The point of this system is to be as cost-effective as possible while being able to get the job done. And it does allow the adjustment of the duration of the raise or lower with each click. I find that the system works better and better as we get closer and closer to level, where less adjustment is required. We also found that there was potential reflection from the windows in the shop as well as the windows off the tractor cab. These reflections would not be flat. They would deflect the laser beam and cause the blade to temporarily lose its mind. These moments are frustrating, but much less so once we understood what was causing them. Check this one out. To deal with this, first we covered the windows with garbage bags. Second, we made sure that there were no cab tractors close by. That Yanmar that we were using to haul in rock, I just had to be very careful when it was nearby. And lastly, if I found an area of the shed that continued to have this issue, I would just turn off the automatic adjustment feature as I drove through that area each time. Again, as we get closer and closer to level, I didn't need to have it adjusting constantly. Now this rock does compact some. We could tell that it was going to just by walking over it, but it's fairly easy to compact. So we got Dave out with Ham just to kind of give an initial run over it here. You can tell he's not working on level ground there, but at least it's going to get it compacted a little bit so we know if we need more rock. You can catch a glimpse of the Canamek owner and founder there. He didn't want to be on camera. He really wasn't trying to sell his product. Rather, he was trying to see how it was going to work in this situation. I appreciate that, and I appreciate that he's continuing to invest and continuing to develop this product line. It is indeed getting better and better and better. Speaking of getting better and better and better, our floor appears to be getting more level. I suppose you might expect this just to be a one-time over and be done, but it never works that way for us. I find we have to keep working at it several times to get it right. I need more rock. Hey, Dave! We're out of rock. Yeah, I don't have anything to grab anymore. That's pretty much all over, see, because you pressed it down. So I don't know what kind of technique to use, honestly. Ham seemed to push it down 3/4 of an inch or so we had to bring in a lot more rock. We know where we want the concrete final grade to be, and we know that we're going to be putting 2 inches of styrofoam insulation on the floor above this rock. So we're trying to get it such that we end up at 5.5 to maybe 6 inches of concrete across the whole floor. Here's a place where just a little bit more experience would have saved us a lot of time. We don't have a good feel for how much this rock will compact, so we have to do it a little bit at a time. Had we fully understood, I probably would have set the blade to cut about an inch higher, and then we could have done this all at one time. But hey, that's okay, more seat time. Going straight and slow is the trick with this particular system. You can see that the occasional adjustments now are small and really not that big of a deal. When I turn, the wing on this blade's a little bit too low. I suspect my drawbar is lower than this blade was designed to be operated with. These little John Deeres have a very low drawbar. Okay, Ham, you're on again. Let's see where we are. It's looking better from a distance here anyway. Unfortunately, off camera, we decided that while it was pretty level at this point, we were just too low all over. So I used the software approach in the blade, raised the grade a little bit, and we're going to have to add a lot more rock. I asked Dave to add it here at the south end, and I would just come in and pull all of it northward. Once I got up on the flat and level part, that worked great, but as I was entering the building, right where Dave's dumping now, it had a hard time keeping up with the wild adjustments of, the back wheels jumping up on that hump. I found this lift, if you call it that, to be one of the most fascinating parts of watching the blade. I'm adding about 3/4 inch of rock over all of it, and you can clearly see the new rock and how much higher it is than the prior level. Since I was having trouble hopping up over that south door entry, I decided to come in from the side and see if that would be easier for me to get started. And it is. You gotta admit, that's pleasing to the eye, is it not? Christy captured these ground level views to give you just a little different angle as to how much we're adding in this lift. At this point, it looks like the cat's getting bored, and maybe I was too, because for some reason I got distracted and decided to try Neil from Dig Drive DIY, his approach of using circles. And I tried this several times, and, well, just to cut to the chase, I messed it all up. I'm not sure why. The blade looks to be performing fine. It's not hopping around like crazy. It's staying nice and level. Perhaps the fins on the side of the blade are making it dig in a little bit or something. I'm just not sure what's going on. But I can say that when I got all done with this playing around, yeah, I had made a mess and I needed to start over and go straight again. Okay, here's when I've thrown in the towel and started back to fixing it with my straight strips. Even from here, you can tell that it looks better. I had to get Dave to bring a little bit more rock back in here. Perhaps I had dug some of it out and displaced it, I don't know, but eventually we got it in good shape. Dave took a hand rake and just walked with the rake upside down over the whole thing, and this is what we ended up with. He rolled it one more time with Ham, taking a very careful approach not to turn very sharp or to go too fast. He also had to turn the vibrator off at each end where he stopped, otherwise it would dig in. Once we got all this done, we moved on to the next step, which was very painful for all three of us. We worked for several days to get this next part done, and we didn't get much video. The three of us were fully consumed. While we had the main part of the floor really level, really good job, the edges where we couldn't reach with the box blade required more handwork and more compaction. It just took a lot of time. We did not put 10 mil plastic under this styrofoam. The main reason is it's rated to be that moisture barrier, and so we taped it up good, as you can see, and we are hopefully almost ready for concrete. Got a couple more cool scenes after the Bible verse. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on Tractor Time with Tim. My feet stand on level ground. In the great congregation, I will praise the Lord.